Hi guys, so I'm here with Gareth from Body Harvest, and we're going to basically run through the approach that he essentially used whilst recording the latest album, Parasitic Slavery, by Body Harvest. So Gareth, welcome.
Yo, how you doing, man? All right?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. So we've already touched upon with Jake the fact that you guys are using the Jackson Dinky through the Laney Ironhearts and the cabs and whatnot, the Marshall cabs, and I think what would be interesting to know is just sort of like what sort of approaches did you guys take when tracking the guitars? Like from what Jake had said, that it was like two guitars either side. Is that right?
Yeah, so two guitars either side, left, right, both of us, and then a second left and right, both of us. So we kind of, the left side would have me and Jake, the right side would have me and Jake as well. We only decided to do use one guitar, just purely for intonation issues. We wanted it to, the consistency of tuning. It's a nightmare. Every take you're kind of having to tune up, and if you're using two guitars, it can be a bit of a nightmare.
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I can imagine. I've been in situations before where we're using multiple guitars, and then we're just sort of like, is this the right thing to do? And particularly for playing metal, you need that solid layered sound in order to sonically make your riff sort of really come across as well.
If one track is intonated, one guitar you can tell straight away.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So in terms of when you were saying, interestingly enough though, you've got left and right. The left side, it's a combination of both of you in there. So it's not like you're on the left and then he's on the right.
It's a blend of us both,
right?
Which is quite cool. I've never done it that way before until the last album, and it worked perfectly. It was really good, actually.
Do you think it gave like more of a showcase both your individual characteristics across, like the spectrum of sound?
Yeah, we're both two different players, really. Jake is more of like a rhythm. His right hand is just like all the kind of
percussive type things.
Rhythmic kind of riffs. That would all be Jake kind of playing. Whereas myself, I'm I don't know, more articulated.
Right.
More of an articulated player.
More the single note type melody stuff,
so,
right?
Yeah.
For sure.
The kind of like techie kind of riffs. It'd probably be me doing the majority of those. So we try and get the best out of both of us playing wise. The attributes, we try and maximise them to the best they can be.
I see. So like in terms of like, so moving into a bit of a different territory where you're talking about the different types of players that you are, the different types of riffs you are, how did you guys handle that tracking process? Because normally I guess it's like you'll either have one guitarist doing the whole thing rhythm wise, or you'll have a split. So how did you guys
solos?
How did you guys share it?
So for us it came down to who would play the riff better.
Okay,
fair. It would execute it better.
Sure.
Make it more consistently sounding better. Especially when you're in a studio, you're fine tuning everything. Everything here is like kind of magnified. Your ears, you can hear the articulation and stuff.
For sure. And I guess like because people talk about the idea that we're in an age where you have Pro Tools, you have Logic, you have Cubase, where you can copy and paste riffs and. Even copy them onto like different tracks or whatever. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to be, your characteristics as a player has to shine through. And particularly if you've got riffs, for example, where there are upstrokes or like that are predominantly upstrokes, and one of you might be better suited to it.
You want to hear that.
And it is better for that person to be able to execute. So I totally know what you're saying. Actually, thinking about it years ago, one of my former bands did a similar approach. Whoever could play that section better would do it. As opposed to one person suffering through it all.
And it works quite well. We're both quite. We haven't got any egos, so none of we didn't fall out with anything. If I feel like I play that riff better, then go for it. It's for the best of the album kind of thing.
Sure. No, and that's the way it should be. To be honest, you can find yourself in situations where you butt heads with people.
Your pride is a bit shattered because you think you can play the riff better. But
Oh, for sure. Like, I've been in situations before where it's like I've tracked an entire song, and then someone comes in and says, and you end up revisiting or just giving the guitar to that person begrudgingly. So how did you guys split the melodies or leads or anything like that? Was it predominantly yourself or?
Yeah, I think most of the leads, if I come up with something, I would probably do it. Whereas Jake would have like a solo section where he'd be using his whammy pedal, the Digitech whammy pedal. Both of our lead playing is different. I'm more of a traditional kind of solo player. Jake's kind of more Kerry King sort of, noises, whammy bar, whammy pedal dives and stuff
Just
like
going
that.
for
So
the throat,
just going straight for the kill kind of thing.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, like, in terms of, if you've got any sort of standout riffs that were quite challenging to track, or is there anything that was, or was it pretty plain sailing, like for you, because you'd done your homework, so to speak?
Well, we had the issue with the reamping, so that was already kind of when we decided to track, because we had the rig kind of set up. We just thought, okay, well, fuck it, we're gonna track.
Yeah.
The pressure was kind of there. So, off the top of my head, maybe a couple of riffs. Maybe something off of Global Decimation. There's a riff in the middle that's quite kind of fiddly, where it's just one guitar, where it's just like one guitar playing, and then the rest of the band kind of kicks in.
Right. Okay.
Maybe I do remember we kind of had to sit down with a metronome before and kind of go through it.
That's part and parcel of the recording process. It's like a lot of people just think it's.
We did go in quite prepared though. We did kind of sit down and say, okay, so you're going to do this bit and I'm going to do this bit, and
which is great. I think.
So we were quite prepared when we went in.
And a lot of people seem to think that with recording, it's a thing where you go in, you play, and you go home. I personally think it's a thing where you get out what you put in,
Yeah, for sure.
and you have to be prepared. And the hardest thing to do, and I think probably more so than drums or vocals, is with guitar, making it sound as live as possible, no matter what method you use, but making it not sound sterile. So really putting the performance element into that particular part of that recording experience. So, like, was that a challenge, or was it actually pretty seamless because of the prep you guys had done?
It was pretty seamless, I think, if I recall. It was all quite. Well, once we ironed out what we were actually going to do because of the reamp issue, it was kind of like boom, straight away, kind of. Yeah, it went quite smoothly actually.
Awesome. No, that's cool. So, like, predominantly from what Jake was saying, he was saying that, you guys solely used like the Laney and the Tube Screamer, but for say your leads, for example, did you alter tweak anything to make it saturate better, or
we used the lead channel with the reverb in. Jake already had his tone kind of dialed in, and we used the same rig for the first album, so we kind of already had an idea what the guitar tone was gonna sound like. Maybe we tweaked it a little bit on this one just because his ears are a little bit more used to the sound of the amp, and he's more comfortable with dialing in fine tuning kind of stuff. But yeah, predominantly it was just the lead channel, reverb, the Jackson or the Warbur's signature.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
No, it sounds good, man. Okay, cool. Well, with that, we'll move on to your live rig and your settings.
Cool. Okay,
awesome.
Nice.
So moving on to Gareth's live setup. So we're just going to talk about the main guitar that you use live.
Cool. So the main guitar would be the Ibanez RGD, the 7320 Zero Edge.
Nice.
I know, a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, Ibanez have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
So that guitar looks sleek, like really.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
It looks like a weapon,
Yeah,
almost.
it's really nice. Really nice to play.
So is it a baritone scale guitar or close to?
26.5-inch scale lengths.
That's the same scale length as my 8-string, actually.
Really?
So funnily enough, and you've got a 7.
Yeah, 7.
That does that. So that's pretty
big,
insane.
big frets, big
Sure.
wide frets.
So what pickups do you have in there?
I also, like Jake, have got the Seymour Duncan Blackouts, not the Dino Cazares signatures. I've got the original ones.
The original
in there,
Blackouts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you find that despite having different guitars, do you find that the tone, is very similar in terms of what you go for from a pickup perspective?
Pickup perspective, yeah. The clarity and the high output is definitely there, but I would say tonality, like in a general, I think we both have different guitar tones, but they complement each other like very well.
Sure. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I can see that you've got like the volume knob like blocked out.
Yeah. So I was having issues with the volume knob getting in the way of the whammy bar.
Right.
When I go to do dive bombs and just general kind of whammy stuff, it was always hitting the volume.
Right. Okay.
So I had it routed out. Had the tone knob where the tone was. Where the tone was, the volume is now there.
Oh, nice.
So it's just more of like a clean signal as well. So.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So I've watched videos where certain players have said that just having the one volume knob means that it's like you've got a hotter signal going to ground.
Maybe
yeah.
I can't I couldn't see if the signal was any better, but no, it was just convenient. It was at the time, definitely. I needed it. I needed to have it gone.
No, of course.
So I got rid.
So with the Floyd Rose on that, is that an Ibanez type Floyd?
So it's a 0 edge 2 bridge.
Right.
At the back, if you see, it's got like a little wheel.
Yeah.
You need to kind of adjust.
What does that wheel do?
So it adjusts the level of the Floyd, the 0 edge. So it just balances it out.
Right.
Balances it out mainly.
Awesome. No, that's cool. And so there are no tuning issues whatsoever when you're using, the whammy bar?
I think it's the 0 edges. They're really, really good for tuning and intonation and. Yeah, really good.
And I guess Ibanez
really
are renowned for that type of thing, right? Like in terms of, to be honest,
whammy bar abuse.
Yeah,
they are.
Ibanez low profile and Jackson low profile bridges for me, because I pick quite weird, really help, because I pick out a right angle, right? So fine tuners would naturally get in the way, but with recessed floor, I guess that's recessed. They feel absolutely fine and nothing gets in the way. So
no, I don't think they get in the way at all. They're spot on, really.
Awesome, nice one.
Yeah.
So what's the other guitar that you use live?
So this one's in B.
Yeah.
And I use a second guitar.
Yep.
Which is more of a traditionally looking guitar. This one.
Nice. Actually suits you, man. For real.
It's like a classic V kind of shape.
For sure.
It's a 7-string. I believe it's an Epiphone. It doesn't actually say on it though, but there's like a really long serial number on the back of it.
Right. How'd you get a hold of that?
Some guy was selling it in the city centre. I believe I got this for a pretty decent price.
Awesome.
And it's got a DiMarzio. I believe it's
Deactivator?
The Steve Vai signature.
Not the Norton breed?
No, it is the. Ooh, I can't remember. I can't actually remember.
Okay,
what the model is,
no worries at all.
It's definitely a DiMarzio for sure.
And what do you have this tune to?
This is Drop A.
Drop A, right. And again, I guess it's similar thing to what I asked Jake earlier. So this doesn't have locking tuners on it, but you find that the tuning is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Cool.
good tune. I have to a thicker gauge string on this one just because the scale length's a little shorter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So no, it's a very decent guitar. 22 frets instead of 24. So, but yeah, really nice, easy access.
Awesome.
Plays well. Sounds great as well.
It looks very classic, and that's what I like about
classic.
it. I think that's what shines through. And then, but the fact that it's not, the fact that it is a 7-string is quite rare in itself for like a classic-looking body.
I haven't really seen many of these about. I don't think I've seen any one of these at all. Especially a classic-looking V.
I think I've got a vague memory of watching a video from Download 2009 or 10 or something, and Trivium were playing like when Matt Heafy went back to Gibson, and you saw he was using some Epiphone V's live.
Nice.
So it could be from that, maybe that kind of thing. But like. It looks really sleek, man.
Immaculate
And is that 2 volume knobs on there, or?
I believe they are. Yeah, 2 volume, 1 tone.
Awesome.
Just kind of leave it on 10 and
and just thrash
and
for sure. And I think that's the one thing I always like about Epiphones, Les Pauls, or Gibson Les Pauls is. The fact that you do have the 2 volume knobs to be able to, if something goes wrong with your neck pickup, you're not worried about the entire signal dropping out or whatever. And what I used to do back in the day, if my noise gate went down, was like I'd have my volume off on the neck pickup, and then I'd just switch like really quickly.
Just have the toggle, that kind of kill switch.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Randy Rhodes.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
The kill switch.
That's awesome, man. So what gauge strings do you use?
So. I use Diodario 10 to 59 on the Ibanez, and then I get I think it's a 64.
Awesome.
For the V, just to hold it.
Yeah, just to get it.
Just to give a bit more tension on the string.
Awesome, man. All right, nice one. Well, okay, with that, we'll move on to amps and pedals. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about Gareth's amps and pedals. So over to you, man.
Hey, man. Yeah. Okay, so amps, EVH 5153, the 50 watt model, 6L6. 3-channel, great amp, great high gain, great clarity, great tone, crushing.
Awesome. Yeah. So you go from the guitar straight, through your pedals, which we'll talk about in a bit, straight into it. I mean, are there any, out of the 3 channels, which is the one that you use the most?
Predominantly the blue channel, channel 2.
Channel 2.
That's the rhythm, that's my rhythm channel, and then channel 3 I'll use for leads. With a nice, like kind of buttery, kind of creamy tone for the leads.
Sure. And do you find that and channel 1 and 2 share the same EQ, right?
They share the same EQ, but they've got their own gain and volume tone.
That's interesting.
Knobs. So you kind of, they share the same low, mid, and high, but they've got their own kind of gain structure and volume. So when you go to channel 1, if you wanted to do a clean section, you can kind of like back the gain off quite a bit.
Oh, nice. Is that a new feature?
Yeah, this is the new 5153 50 watt, but the 6L6.
I see, because because I think I demoed one in the past, and I've never not seen that before. So that's actually quite interesting.
I think they released it last year.
Right, I see.
Last year. I picked this one up last year, August, I believe. So I've had it just over a year, and it's awesome.
And by using, I guess, the 50 watt compared to Jake's 120 watt, when you guys are playing live, I mean, do you notice a difference, like in terms of, from a power perspective, or your tone meshes in well enough to be able to?
Yeah, as far as power, I don't think so. This is a really loud amp head. For a 50 watt, it is like super loud. I think the only difference between the 100 watt and a 50 watt is maybe the 50 watt is a bit more like compact sounding, not as so much headroom as a 120 watt. So that's probably like the only difference I could probably think of. But yeah, there's enough gain, and like the 6L6s, they got that really good like punch to them.
Yeah, like 6L. I always find like if I was to compare like EL34s to 6L6s, I always associate EL34s with like Marshalls,
mid-range.
Mid-range.
Tones,
My guitar is tuned to drop D, and I'm hitting chords E standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with 6L6s, if I want something that's really tight and focused,
the 6L6s,
less of a fizz to it. It's more like a kind of a scoop tone, but not crazily scoop.
Yeah.
I always have gone for 6L6s.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I guess playing with amps where you can adjust like the biases and like the tubes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I've always felt like better with 6L6s than EL34s.
Yeah, I've always felt a little bit more comfortable playing them, like having them in the. Yeah,
Cool.
they're great. Yeah, awesome.
And so what, you run this through this?
So I run it through the Peavey 5150 cab with vintage Selection Vintage 30 speakers.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, so I'm getting that mid range from the speakers. It's anyway.
Were the Vintage 30 stock within?
Yeah, I believe they were. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. So you've got that sort of, very focused, punchy mid, punchy mid with a punchy mid range. Yeah.
So I can back the mid range off on the amp head itself, and give it a bit more of a scooped feel, but not too much.
Yeah.
Because I still want that punch of the mids to kick in.
And I guess you guys are playing 7 strings, so it's a thing where you don't want to be killing it on the gain, and you don't want to be killing it on the low end so much. You want that to be, to at least come out as natural sounding as possible without having to really boost it and go a bit crazy.
It's not too crazy. Everything is thereabouts about 12 o'clock.
Cool.
It's not too extravagant kind of thing.
Awesome. So what is this pedal on the top here?
So this is my delay pedal.
Yeah.
Put it in the effects loop. It is the I'll just take it off so you can have a look. It is the Poontang Boomerang, the Satchel Steel Panther guitar player's sort of signature delay pedal. It's like a really kind of 80s analog kind of sounding pedal. It sounds absolutely killer.
It's an interesting name for sure.
Yeah.
The Poontang Boomerang.
Yeah, the Poontang Boomerang. And it's got 2 settings on there. It's got like a good day and a crikey kind of setting, with a little middle tone in there.
Good day and crikey. Jam it in, so mate. Pull out, mate.
One is like a chorus, and then the other's a delay kind of thing.
I do love the outrageous aesthetic to this. This is this is something pretty ridiculous.
Big
to be
bright
honest.
LEDs as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like, when you use it live, I mean, you run it in the effects loop just for this one.
Run it through run it at the back of the amp, and in the.
And like in terms of the kind of
section of the amp,
I guess you kind of, for leads, I don't know, like for me traditionally, whenever I'm running a delay, I always think, do you know what, I want that stadium rock sound, like,
Yeah, you want that big.
Yeah, that kind of big ambience
big,
to it.
Light ambience, yeah.
So like, is that how you have it run?
Yeah, that's how I have it run.
Okay.
Just, if I'm playing a solo, I'll have the delay pedal, and I got a phaser as well.
Right, okay.
Eddie Van Halen signature Phase 90, so I'll have that on as well, just to give it a bit of width, and then the delay just gives it that.
It's interesting
larger than life.
I've heard a lot of players say that same thing about the Phase 90.
Yeah.
But I've never felt the need to try and delve into that. I mean, when you're using it, the Phase 90, the delay, the lead sound, what you've got on, do you notice a difference, like when it's on or off?
Yeah, I definitely notice a difference.
Because whenever I think phase, I think phaser, as in but it's more subtle.
For me, the trick is, I think Eddie Van Halen had it between 9 and 10 o'clock on the dial. Any more, it gets a bit kind of wishy-washy. You just want it subtly there, so it gives it that sort of wideness.
Right. Okay. So it's like
if you have it 2 up, you're gonna sound like Treg Zagtoth from Morbid Angel. It's underwatery kind of solos.
Underwatery solos. No, fair.
Yeah, I have that in the front of the amp.
Sure. Okay, cool. So let's move into pedals. So what do you start with, and what do you end with?
So we'll go from amp to car. So from the amp, I got a ISP
Yeah.
Decimator 2.
Yeah.
Then it goes into the overdrive pedal, which I've just recently picked up the well, I had to get the other one, the Steel Panther satchel overdrive pedal, the Pussy Melter.
Nice. Wow.
a great sounding overdrive, absolutely awesome.
What would you say it's comparable to? Like,
it's definitely got that kind of. It's definitely got that Tube Screamer feel.
Sure.
Definitely like an old school Ibanez TS8.
808, yeah.
Yeah, like an 808 kind of feel. I do own a Maxon as well, but I had to try this Pussy Melter out, and it's been in my pedal board ever since. So
wow,
yeah,
so
great
many anecdotes.
sounding. Yeah, it's got dirty, load, booty, and sizzle.
So how much booty do you have on that?
I have that set to about 1 o'clock.
Booty at 1 o'clock.
The booty at 1, get a bit of sizzle about 12:30.
Oh wow.
Load at 2, and some dirty time at 10.
Oh my, dirty time at 10.
Dirty time is 10.
Love it. So and
Yeah.
it's got some pink LEDs as well.
Yeah,
which kind of
it's
just
like
sets
bright
the
hot
tone.
pink. Yeah, so
course.
I'll never be able to
So you
not see it.
So I guess like, do you have it as? Is it quite subtle for you, or is it like quite a shift when you do engage it?
It's just got more of a kick.
More of a kick.
It is like a Tube Screamer in front of an amp. You can definitely, it just tightens that low end up, gives it a bit more high gain.
Do you use that in conjunction with your amp
Yeah,
sound?
so this is on all the time.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, just like any Tube Screamer, you're gonna put it in front of the amp. I have it on all the time.
Fair. And then I can see the MXR phase 90.
And then the MXR, the EVH phase 90, which is, it's kind of two phases in one. You've got this button just past the dial with script on it, so you can have that old MXR phase 90, the script kind of logo.
Yeah, I remember that
or
one.
you can have the block logo one. I tend to have the script on the script logo, just because it's
sound
just
amazing,
a little bit
those
more
ones.
subtle. The block logo, phase 90, which is like a little bit more in your face.
Yeah, for sure.
So I kick that on when I'm doing leads and stuff with the just hit the effects loop on and
Bang.
straight onto the phase 90.
No, fair.
And after that I've got the EVH flanger, the MXR. I use it in a couple of parts of the set just to kind of accentuate some riffs or build some kind of atmosphere, they say.
Sure, and you guys don't jump into anything clean sound wise whatsoever. It's all distorted.
We might do it in the near future. Maybe the next album might have a clean section here or there kind of thing, but that's all to see. We don't know yet.
No, of course.
And then into the Korg Pitch Black tuner, the original, not the one that Jake has. I've got the original one.
That's the one I have.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
Yeah,
That is it. It's like the Knight Rider of tuner pedals.
I've had that pedal for years.
Yeah, I've had mine for
years.
7 years as well, man.
It's
a long
absolutely
time.
awesome.
It is.
Love
It just. I don't know what it is. It is comparable to a TU2, which is the tuner I prefer.
Yeah.
To a TU3, so it just makes perfect sense to use it. To be honest.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. Man.
And it's all being powered by the Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus.
Right. Okay. So I guess, do you do a lot of daisy chaining, or are you using separate?
Using separate
leads.
Separate leads. Yeah, separate leads.
Oh, awesome. No, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Killer. All right, well,
nice.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there in terms of the rigs. So I'd like to thank Gareth and Jake for having me here today. Thank you guys so much.
No problem, man. Thanks for having us.
It's been awesome, getting an insight into the rigs that you guys use, as well as your rare personal collection of guitars, man. Just why don't you tell the guys where we can find you,
Yeah, all the social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can check out the album on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. Check out Parasitic Slavery, Comatose Music. You can check us out live on tour with Carnation and Sisters of Suffocation in October, the Halloween weekend. We're doing London, Brighton, Bristol, Nottingham and Manchester, so that should be good fun.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
should be good.
Well, be sure to catch you guys live at some point for sure.
Awesome, yeah.
I'll be there. And cheers guys, thank you.
Cheers, thank you, man.